everybody. So I'm a huge fan of the 60s and 70s aesthetic. I've slowly been teaching myself how to sew from vintage patterns the past few years. I thought I would put together a little lookbook of all of my favorite summer outfits I've made so far and hopefully give people a little inspiration if you are into that kind of thing. So let's get into it.
Alright, here are all of my summer outfits together. Up first, let's start with this mod cutout go-go dress with Simplicity 8141 from 1969. I used an old bedsheet and some old jewelry findings I found on eBay. This is a really comfy dress to wear on really hot summer days. It's very light and breezy. It buttons in the back, which can be a little difficult on your own, but that's really the only downside. This is great to dance in or wear anywhere. I had some leftover loops, so I made some matching earrings with some shrinky dinks. Up next is McCalls 7104 from 1963. I found this fabric panel while I was looking for vintage mermaid fabric on Etsy, and I lost my mind because it's the exact same fabric used to make Joyce Monroe's dress from Edward Scissorhands. So I had to recreate her iconic mermaid shift dress. It was not an option. This is just a simple shift dress. I shortened the buzz darts a little so it wouldn't interfere with the print at all. It's very easy to put on, just throw over a bathing suit or on a really hot day. The pattern called for a side zip, but I just left that off because you can just pull it over your head. Great to wear anywhere on a really hot day or around the house or to a backyard barbecue. Just don't forget to bring your ambrosia salad. Up next is Butterick 6683 from 1973. This one was inspired by Sharon Tate in Paris. She wore a baby blue collared mini dress like this. It has a white Peter Pan collar and matching contrast cuffs. I made this with two different old sheets. Very light, very easy to wear, very different. It kind of has Alice in Wonderland vibes, but I don't really mind. This is Simplicity 5350 from 1972. This fabric I found on eBay. It's a 90s does 60s flower power knit fabric. It's very shiny, slinky, silky. This is good for not too hot summer days when you want a little more coverage. Very comfortable. It kind of feels like I'm wearing a nightgown. Zips up the back. I paired it with some gold earrings and an arm bangle. And with the leftover fabric from that and Simplicity 6947 from 1975, I made this little bikini set. It's not the most flattering thing. The bottoms are a little diapery looking, but it kind of makes me feel like one of the girls from Laugh-In, so I'll allow it. Here's Simplicity 9781 from 1971. This is probably the most flattering thing I've ever made. I used some leftover knit fabric I had from a project I made for a friend of mine. It has poofy sleeves, a skater skirt, a V-shaped waistline, and a fitted bodice. I added a little bow to the front for a detail. It's super flattering on. I paired it with some matching coral shoes and some dangly 70s earrings. Very cozy, very comfy. Up next is Simplicity 8780 from 1970 and 7216 from 1967, I believe. This is a matching blouse and skirt set I made from an old sheet and some broadcloth. It's a little cartoony, a little clowny. It kind of looks like if I were a cartoon character, this is what my outfit would be every single day. I think I'm gonna make just a simple tank top out of some of the leftover bedsheet fabric I had to go with the skirt because I love it. It was actually inspired by our bedspread. I have a vintage bedspread on our bed that's made with an old sheet and some pink fabric, which I love. It looks better untucked, I think, at least with this top. This dress I did not expect to like as much as I did. So this was made with McCalls 3502 from 1973. I used an old bed sheet again. This one's a slightly different color than the other one. With leftover fabric I used to make our kitchen curtains. I lowered the neckline quite a bit, and it has tucks in the front that I lowered down to the natural waistline, so it's a little more flattering. I lowered the back tie about an inch, and it's super flattering on. It makes me feel like I'm living in the Regency era, or just ready to frolic through a field. Perfect, breezy, airy dress. So this was made with the exact same pattern, but I used the wrong fabric, so it's a little too stiff. I didn't lower the tucks at all, so with the stiff fabric it gives kind of a maternity look, and the neckline's a little too high, the sleeves are a little too short. But it's good for around the house. It kind of makes me look like a giant porcelain doll, but hey, that's a look, I guess. Here's McCalls 3561 from 1973. So this has a large contrast collar that wraps around and ties in the back. It's a mini baby doll style A-line dress with a flared skirt. I used some lightweight orange fabric and some old sheet material again. I think it's a really flattering shape on my body type. It comes with matching dance pants, which I fully believe we should bring back in style for dancing. I sewed some eyelet lace to the trim around the edge of the collar, which I think gives it a needed little extra touch because it's pretty simple. And the color scheme was actually inspired by orange creamsicles, which are one of my favorite things. So here's me just dancing. Sorry. I paired it with some big gold earrings and white Mary Jane flats. Up next is Simplicity 3916 from 1963. This is a really flattering set I made with some denim for the shorts and pink cotton for the top. Great for doing yard work or just hanging out in the backyard or around the house. One of my favorite patterns. It's the one I've made multiple times in multiple colors. This top, I actually used the bodice from the first dress. It was a wearable mock-up, and I just sewed some eyelet trim to the bottom. It's a little too short. The neck's a little too high. Here's McCalls 9715 from 1969. I used an old white bed sheet, which I ended up dyeing lavender because it looked a little too cult member-ish in plain white. This is really easy to throw on. It has no zippers or buttons. It's just all elastic gathering. A flattering baby doll shape. It kind of looks like a nightgown, but I don't really mind. I usually pair this with some matching lavender flats, and here I'm wearing some enamel daisy earrings. This is Butterick 5595 from 1969 again. So this I made with some cotton that was gifted to me by my best friend for Christmas. I wanted a really simple shaped dress for the busy pattern. This is a really easy dress to throw on over a bathing suit or for a really hot day outside. A really simple shape. I paired this with a very long vintage 60s pink necklace and some matching earrings I have. This is Simplicity 7000 from 1967, and this is actually one of the reasons I learned how to sew. I really wanted a 60s jumpsuit, especially a psychedelic one that zips in the front, but I'm too tall for any of the vintage ones, so I made my own. I used a vintage ring zipper and some quilting cotton in a psychedelic pink and orange pattern. It came out a little too big, so I made a matching waist sash, and it's really easy to throw on and wear for a little get together or around the house. I paired this with some gold sandals, a gold bangle, and some big gold hoop earrings that match the ring zipper. And I think I'm going to make my mom a jumpsuit out of this too, because she likes it. And here we have McCalls 9398 from 1968. This I made reusing some of the leftover fabric I had from the jumpsuit, and sometimes I pair it with the same waist sash that I wear with the jumpsuit just to give it a little added detail, kind of like a faux wrap look. I love A-line skirts. I recommend them for anyone. They look great on any body type, really easy and comfy to wear. So this was a pair of shorts I made using the same pattern for the other shorts, and this was a vintage t-shirt transfer that was put onto a modern t-shirt that I just turned into a little halter top I made following a YouTube tutorial. Last but certainly not least is McCall's 9785 from 1969. This pattern was on my wish list for literal years. From the moment I started sewing, I knew I wanted to make this dress. I finally got this pattern as a Christmas present from my mom this year. Thank you, Mom. I love you very much. And I used some hot pink cotton fabric and added a little matching daisy pin to the front and some matching earrings, which you can't really see, but they're there. This shape is super flattering, I feel like. I love the cutouts. The back gives you kind of this extreme hourglass shape with the cutouts at the side, which I love. This is the perfect dress for dancing, parties, get-togethers, now that we can kind of do that vaccinated. Overall, this is probably one of my favorite things I've ever made, and probably my favorite dress at the moment.
That's everything. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Hopefully it gave you some ideas of what you can make, or maybe just outfits you can put together for the summer if you're a fan of the 60s and 70s look like I am. And I hope you all have an absolutely beautiful day, and hopefully I'll see you soon.